Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
It is so good to see and hear this young lady from California. She got up just to talk to us, and we're so happy about it. Kathi Lipp, how are you?
I'm great. I got up and dyed my hair for you guys.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
That's how legit this is.
Yeah, hey, so did I. See?
Yeah.
I thought we were just doing radio, and I'm like, nope, we're going to step it up a notch. It's so good to see you guys.
Oh, you are amazing. We wanted to check in with you and see how Roger's doing, and you said you had a dog, a weenie. What was that you called it?
We thought we were getting a puggle, a pug beagle mix.
Oh,
but
those are cute.
Yes. So, but then we got a special for $25, and we think it's a box of Chiweenie, a boxer Chihuahua Dachshund. And let's just say she is the ugliest beauty on the planet, and we are just in love with her. It's fun to have a puppy when you have to be in the house.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason she's now housebroken is because we've been home with her 24/7. So miracles abound.
A box of Chiweenie. That sounds like a good snack. I want a box of Chiweenie.
I'll remind her of that when she's misbehaving.
Yeah.
Kathi Lipp on Zoom and on the radio, and we get to talk to Kathi from time to time. She is the queen when it comes to decluttering, folks. And there's a lot of that going on. We're going to talk about her book in just a few seconds here, Ready for Anything, Preparing Your Home for Any Crisis, Big or Small. And she actually wrote this before the pandemic. So, and I'm sure there's some interesting stories that have come out of this whole social isolation thing. But first, we want to check with you and Roger. How you guys doing? Everybody good, healthy?
Better than we deserve. You know, we feel that we don't have little kids at home. We don't have teenagers at home. We just had to sit on my mom because she was like, I'm not letting any pandemic getting in the way of my quilt meeting. And I'm like, Mom. So once we finally got her settled down, yeah, we both Roger and I work from home much of the time. So, you know, we've had some canceled events. We have a retreat center that we run for writers. So of course, all that's shut down. But, you know, compared to so many others, we are so fortunate. And so we're grateful to be in a place where we can try to help. And so we're grateful.
That's awesome.
And you got a new puppy. So, I mean, what more could you want out of that? And what is the puppy's name?
Moose. She is 10 pounds dripping wet. We thought we were getting a 40-pound dog, and she stopped growing. And so
apparently, box of Chiweenies aren't that big. So
they are not. Who knew, right? Because of all the research we've done on box of Chiweenies, who knew how little they are?
Oh, goodness. Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, okay. Good. I was just wondering. I thought you made that name up, but that's an actual name of a breed.
That's what our vet said. This is the best she could come up with.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, that's funny. Kathi Lipp on Zoom. You can go to kathilipp.com. All right, Kathi, let's open this up now. This book, Ready for Anything. You wrote this, put this together before the pandemic. Tell us about it and why now?
Well, it's now I think the only thing I can say is God. I mean, like, I don't mean to use that as a cop-out, but who would have thought? I wrote this book for those of us who feel like we're not prepared for an emergency. And I always say, you know, people say, oh, are you a prepper? And I'm like, well, I'm probably what you would call a prepper light. I'm somewhere between I'll just trust God and 10 years of baked beans. You know, like I'm in the middle of that. But I realized I kept having small and bigger emergencies happen in my life. And I just kept thinking I'm the most unlucky person on the planet. But what I realized was I'm really actually the most unprepared person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like I would feel like God is judging me because my car ran out of gas. Well, actually my car ran out of gas because I didn't put gas in the car. You know, and so this
is that how that works?
I know, crazy, right? Crazy, right? And so this is just a breakdown to help people think through, how do I get prepared for any circumstance that comes up in my life? And Rick, you and I have talked a lot of time. You know, I'm a pretty positive person. So this is not a doom and gloom. This is saying, hey, stuff happens. This is just the reality of life. how am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to take care of my family? And then let's take it one more level. How am I going to take care of my neighbor when a crisis comes up? So how do I get beyond just survival mode and get to a place where I can actually be the helper in a situation?
Why do you think, Kathi, we get so often we get to places and we come up with pandemics like this? I mean, who knew this was going to come up? But we aren't prepared. Why are we afraid to prepare for stuff like this, do you think?
Oh, that is such a great question. I think there are a couple of reasons. One, we don't want to be seen as our crazy Uncle Jerry, the prepper, who is guarding his 10 years of rice with an AK-47. You know, we don't want to be, I mean, isn't that the image we have of everybody?
Yeah.
And then also it feels overwhelming. Like when I originally put the manuscript in my team's hands and I said in there, you need two weeks worth of food. They all said, Kathi, calm down. Like there's never going to be a situation where we need 2 weeks worth of food in our house. And then pandemic.
Right.
And so, you know, and it's not just a pandemic, it's also a job loss. If you have a job loss, wouldn't you love to have 2 weeks worth of food and water? And by the way, these are not Kathi recommendations. It's the American Red Cross who says 2 weeks worth of food, 2 weeks worth of water, and 3 months of emergency funds on hand. And I know that that's not realistic for everybody, but for some of us, we are just not making the decision to be prepared. We're saying the government will take care of us, the church will take care of us, whatever. But I want to be in the position where I'm the one helping to take care of others, if at all possible, because I believe that's what's biblical. And so that's what I want to be doing.
Now, have you added like a month's worth of toilet paper into that now? Because who knew?
It's in the book. It's in the book. You know, supply chains, I mean, things happen. And here's the thing. People are like, why toilet paper? Well, in the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know nobody could give us clear directions because nobody really knew what was going on. And so what have we always been told in an emergency? You need water and you need toilet paper. So people did what they knew. Yep. Now, here was the beautiful thing. Roger and I were already set because we had all this on hand. We got to leave that Costco toilet paper for a family who actually needed it. Because it's not stock, it's not hoarding. If you do it before the pandemic hits, that's okay. And so we've been able to give toilet paper to friends and family and even leave one in our little library that is by the side of the road. We've been able to give out of our abundance because we were ready.
Yeah.
That's so good. Kathi Lipp, KathiLipp.com. Check out her new book. It's Ready for Anything. Actually, it's not out yet, is it? It's coming up.
The ebook they pulled up 2 months early. So it is out. The print edition will be out 2 weeks. I mean, sorry, the version's 2 months early. The print version 2 weeks early, so May 19th. So if you want the version, it's available now.
Yeah, go to KathiLipp.com, Kathi with an I and 2 P's in Lip. Roger probably was pretty set. One, he had toilet paper, and he had all his Spotify U2 tunes already lined up. He was ready to go.
He is ready for anything, my friend, and everything downloaded on our tablets. We are good to go.
Love
Kathi, any thought of changing the name of the book to Crazy Uncle Dave Isn't So Crazy Anymore?
I know, right? Well, here's what I'll say about Crazy Uncle Dave. God bless him. He will be fine in the pandemic. He hasn't left his house. He doesn't need your Uber Eats or your DoorDash. He is good to go. But here's where I want to be different than Crazy Uncle Dave is I want to say I'm preparing because I believe it's biblical and it's good, but not out of fear. Like, I don't need to be afraid. I love the Proverbs 31 woman. She can laugh at the days to come. That's what I wanted. And so to be able to but there are lessons I always say in the book, 95% of it is common sense. 5% is going to make you feel like a crazy prepper, but it's the 5% you need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kathi Lipp, go to KathiLipp.com. We got to go to a break here in just a second, Kathi. But socially isolated for Dan and I have been, I think it's a month now, Dan, somewhere a little over a month. And I don't know how long you guys were locked down early. So
we were Santa Clara, California, so we were one of the first.
Okay, what have you learned from this? Obviously, practically, a lot of great stuff that you can pass along. How about spiritually? What have you learned spiritually and that you could share with others so that, let's say, God forbid, this ever happen again,
right,
that we're prepared for it, no panic, and we can go through it with confidence and help other people?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've learned from all of this is, and I knew this from reading the Bible, but I don't think I'd ever really experienced it, that the world tries to offer peace, but there's a different peace that comes from God. And so understanding, the world is working hard to say everything's okay, everything's okay. But those of us who know Jesus Christ, we know it's okay. We know whatever the outcome is. And two, I saw myself get that selfish little wicked heart in the beginning. It's like, okay, I've got enough toilet paper, but do I need some more? Like, and when fear, it takes root, we act outside of our best selves and we act outside of how God wants us to behave. And so it's okay for those feelings to come up. What's not okay is to act on them. And so I really had to get into the position of, my family is going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. But there are people who are so much worse off than us. People who've lost their jobs, people who are hurting. I know 4 people personally who have lost people to COVID. So when we turn our minds to how can we be that neighbor, whether we're sitting next door to them and asking, do you have enough toilet paper? Do you have enough of what you need? Or it's somebody across the country whose father has just passed away. That when I take my mind off of myself and I say, God, show me who I can be serving, it changes our whole attitude about this. And it lessens the fear and the panic, and it gets us to a place of peace. So plan on being a helper, and it gets you to that place of peace.
Kathi, we love you so much, and we love having you on the show. You're not only so practical, you always have a word of wisdom for all of us. Hey, check out Kathi's stuff, all of it. It's kathilipp.com. And you've got to get this book, Ready for Anything, Preparing Your Home for Any Crisis, Big or Small. Hey, we'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.